Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
So the other night, Cale for the drive home was doing his grand end-of-year tour, as he does, you know, going around to businesses, giving away gelato bello, amazing stuff. Obviously, he's doing sip and save every night this week as well, so go check him out.
Busy man, out and about.
He is, and along with Cale is his sidekick Taylor, who runs the... Hey, why are you laughing?
And Davo's brought a pot and wooden spoon in this morning, and she is stirring it up.
Got the witch's cauldron there.
Sidekick Taylor, she's going to hate that.
No, you didn't need to pay attention to it, did you? Nah, she's running the street team, so she's there giving it heaps as well, you know. And Cale was broadcasting live. Yeah. And while he was broadcasting, it was like peak hour of this thing, you know, everyone's walking up, wanting to spin the wheel, wanting to say g'day, all of that stuff.
Want some ice cream.
It's quite busy at this point. I mean, it's all hands on deck. You know, you have to be pretty attentive to everyone coming up, wanting a bit of food, so no diddly-daddling.
No, absolutely. And Taylor went missing, so Cale goes, hang on, whereabouts is Taylor for the workday?
Yeah.
Cale for the drive home said, where's Taylor for the workday? And he goes walking through the shopping mall and he's looking in shop, where is she? What's she doing? And he goes past a nail place and he spots her.
Yeah.
There's Taylor getting a pedicure.
Crazy.
Oh, get out.
No way.
In a massage chair, feet up, absolutely laxing, giving it heaps.
In the middle of the...
In the middle of work.
But there's no symbol of leisure than probably getting your nails done, right? You know, sitting back on a recliner chair, you know, comfortable as leather seats, you know, really paints a picture of the work ethic, doesn't it?
Jeez, Davo's just passed her pot and spoon off to Callum. I'm going to stay Switzerland right now. I'm staying very neutral.
No, but I mean, that is something. Every now and then when you get cheeky on the job and you think, you know what, I'm going to treat myself, do this and that. I mean, Tom, you are a classic culprit of this. You love to watch your TV series on the clock.
Yeah, look, well, technically not on the clock. It's during my breakfast break where I bring food back and eat. I don't see the point in eating and working at the same time. I've got greasy hands. I don't want to touch my laptop. So I'll just sit there and watch something. And you know what? If that runs a little over my break, I work enough overtime to make up for it.
Who was it that dobbed you in recently for watching a full episode of The Simpsons? It was
Darren.
Someone. Oh, was it our
Our
boss?
big boss.
It was the worst person to see watching an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah, the corporate fat cat caught me watching a Simpsons montage on YouTube while I ate my breakfast. We do want to open up the phone lines here. What'd you get caught doing on the job? Somebody's texted in saying, I get busted on my phone all the time at work. Bet you that they're at work right now.
They're on the site right
Hop
now.
off. Just get off right now.
Hey, let's go to Christie's Beach. We got Michaela on the line. Michaela, what'd you get caught doing on the job?
Hello. I got caught moving our classroom elf on the shelf by a student.
Ruin the magic.
Yes, but I said that he was just looking really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, good
nice.
save. Good save.
He whispered to me, he said, can you please move me over? But my legs are a bit tainted. I can't walk.
Exactly.
Michaela, did you get away with it?
Yeah, I actually did. This
You
was a few
beauty.
years ago. But since then, I've been so careful, and I always, if I forget to move it, or if I forget about the elf, I don't want to say anything that thinks that she was listening, but I text my work colleague. I'm like, elf, quickly, elf. So shout out to Shani. Shout out. She's always got my back with that elf lately.
Oh, how
Good on you, Michaela. Thanks for getting involved. Hey, let's go to Sophie over in Onkaparinga Hills. Sophie, good morning to you.
Hello.
What'd you get
Morning.
caught? What'd you get caught doing on the job?
Another teacher, funnily enough. It was Friday. It'd been a long week. Lunchtime, I said to myself, I'm going to sit on the beanbag, just have a little bit of a relax, and fell asleep for all of lunch and a little bit after.
Into lesson time.
Yeah.
So,
I had told the teacher told the teacher next door, can you wake me up before the bell goes? And then the PE teacher walked past at the end of lunch and said, don't you dare wake her up, she's sleeping so peacefully. So I was very lucky that he took my class for a bit.
Wow, so how'd you wake up in the end? Just naturally, or...?
Yeah, just naturally, and then found a little note next to me that says, don't worry, your kids are taken care of.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
What a nice...
Can we get a job where you work?
Yeah,
That'd be
it's-
lovely. The amount of times I've tried to have a nap here and I get scared.
Crazy
Say,
as.
you do get caught napping quite a bit here, Tom.
Good on you, Soph. Thanks for getting involved.
Thanks.
Hey, let's wrap things up with Matt in Flagstaff Hill. Matt, what'd you get caught doing on the job?
Morning, everyone.
G'day, mate. How you
I
going?
didn't. Yeah, good. I didn't actually get caught, but I did duck off and have a vasectomy during work hours.
That's insane. What prompted you to want to what prompted you to get the snip during work?
Well, I don't want to take time off, and I figured I could just sneak out, Uber there, quick snip, Uber home, back at it.
So, Matt, you went back to work after the vasectomy?
Yeah.
Do you feel a bit sore after? Do you feel a bit sore afterwards, or?
Nah. Oh, it depends. No, I was fine. It wasn't that bad. It was some people were worse than others, but no, I went straight back to work.
Right.
Oh,
Some dirt on and off he goes.
There you go.
Sometimes me think, what is friend? Then me say, friend is someone to listen to Davo, Tom and Callum podcast. Cookie, nom 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 nom.
Guys, I've been holding something in for a couple of weeks now. I didn't really know how to bring it up. And I thought, well, I may as well just broadcast it to the whole of Adelaide live on radio.
Well, it's a good remedy to have this job and to be able to rip the Band-Aid off by just telling everyone.
Yeah.
And for some reason it feels like it brings down the anger of who you don't want to have hearing it.
Yeah, because then it's fun. It's a fun story. It was on the radio.
It's a little fun thing. Don't
Yeah.
take it too seriously.
I don't know what it is, but for some reason, whenever I, do admit to something bad that I've done on radio, it seems like the person I've done the wrongdoing to takes it a lot than if I just
that's
told
what we're
him.
saying, yeah.
But it's to do with my dad, and I haven't told him this for a while, but I've brought this up on air before, but he recently made friends with a magpie. And somewhat domesticated this magpie, feeding it and stuff. And
Yo-yo biscuits.
Yeah, yo-yo biscuits. It would come to the house 2 to 3 times a day. It got to a point where Dad could get this magpie up on his arm and eat out of his hand.
He was one step away from leashing it up and taking it down the parade.
Yeah. No.
And I did tell you need to take this magpie down because I was worried that you're going to wake up one day with it standing on your chest and basically like, get out of here.
Yeah, Alfred Hitchcock's birds. No, well, I originally was against this whole idea. Then I started feeding the bird and I was kind of into it as well.
You grew a soft spot for the magpie.
But what happened is my parents went away on a cruise a few weeks ago and I was left to, man the helm of the house. And one of the things, as they're leaving, running me through everything, turn the sprinklers on, turn the pool heater on. And then the last thing Dad says to me is, and, keep an eye out for Murray, the magpie. Make sure you feed him if he comes by. And I said, yeah, well, look, if I'm home from work and I see him, I'll do my best. I reckon I did it once. And every other time I just couldn't be bothered looking for something, foraging in my kitchen.
But he was showing up.
He was showing up. Yeah.
Does Murray hang around just the window for quite a long time, like an hour or two, until what if you were in the back room playing Xbox? Is he just there waiting, or is it coincidence that you just happen to bump into him?
He's just there waiting. He sits on the outside chairs. He'll just walk around the tiles.
Yeah, patient bird.
And I just
Sussing his prey.
I just couldn't be bothered every time going out and giving him a yo-yo biscuit, or like a quarter of a yo-yo biscuit.
Like, you've seen the trick now. You know you've seen it.
Yeah,
you don't need
exactly
to...
right.
Yeah.
But my dad, taking a lot of time off of work recently, has all this spare time on his hands. When he came back from the cruise, one of the first things he said to me after a few days was, hey, was Murray the magpie coming around while I was gone?
He's walked into the house with a tiny little Hawaiian shirt for Murray. He's like, I've got a little present for him. Where's the little sucker?
And I said... oh, yeah, he came around a couple of times, and then Dad goes, were you feeding him? Like, were you giving him attention? Because he hasn't been back. He hasn't been coming around. And I sort of lied and said, yeah, I fed him every now and then, but, I'd work late a lot of days. I didn't see him every day. So I saw this bird every day.
You've instilled in your dad's head that Murray no longer has room for him anytime. Yeah. He probably thinks Murray hates him.
But Murray just got sick of not getting fed. Stopped coming around the house.
Murray's found a new family. Sorry, Phil.
Parked it around the corner.
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
Fainting would have to be, one of the most embarrassing things to happen to you. I think, there's a lot going on when you faint, especially in a public spot.
And alarming as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Embarrassing, but also alarming.
No, of course.
Mainly alarming.
If you are fainting, obviously check the important side of it, which is the medical side. Don't worry so much about the embarrassment, but of course that is a byproduct of fainting. That, if it's around a group of people, it could be a little bit embarrassing. Everyone's looking at you.
Especially if you are, okay. And it's just like a random faint and you're okay and it's around a group of people and suddenly everyone's worried about you. You're like, please stop worrying. I'm okay.
People faint sometimes. It happens,
And self-inflicted sometimes.
You try and convince people and you think, it's not a big deal, but, it does happen sometimes. But one of the more embarrassing ones happened to a mate of mine, Yanni. And it's embarrassing for the reason that he's studying medicine at the moment. And it's his job right now to, in his placement at a hospital, to pretty much every day he goes around and draws blood out of, variety of people.
Yeah.
And, he draws blood out of, old ladies and, they're all really, strong and just able to be like, oh, just put it in my veins, take it.
Yeah,
and
they're used to it.
They're very strong-willed and, none of them are fainting or anything. But then he was telling me the other day how embarrassed that he was, that he went for a blood test and I reckon he only got up to 3 mils or something. And nothing at all compared to, what he's taking out of these 90-year-old people. Yeah. And he collapses. He just faints in the seat and he's like, oh, I'm going down. And then the lady who's taking his blood asks, so what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, I'm studying to be a doctor. I kind of take blood from people every day.
Yeah, right. So what, does he just never really had blood taken from him?
I think he hates blood. Which is a real bad position to be in.
It's not even the needle, it's the sight of blood that causes him to faint.
It's one of those ones where it's like, gee, man, you're in your 4th year of medicine and you're realising it now that blood might not be your forte. But, he does actually seem to be able to do it to other people, but as soon as the needle's in his arm, he goes a bit limp.
Yeah, it goes a bit loopy.
Yeah, awful.
Fainting, that is an embarrassing time to faint as well, especially because he's studying medicine. When did you faint, Adelaide? It doesn't even have to be you. When did somebody around you faint? Tell us a story. I mean, Callum, there was the time a few months ago where we went to a friend's house for a barbecue, and it was a very family-orientated event. It was on a Sunday. It was a hot day. Callum was a bit seedy from the night before.
To say the least.
Keep in mind as well, if you were to paint the picture of this barbecue, like we said, it was kind of the friends who it was were a little bit older. They were in their 30s, so it was a very family kind of event. There were a bunch of little
babies.
There were babies running around.
People brought their dogs.
And it was on a nice Sunday, where it's not intended to be rowdy in the slightest.
Yeah, and I reckon we were there for all of maybe an hour. And Callum's like, I'm just going to get some water. He gets up, and I watch his legs get lower and lower to the ground until he passes
Walking
out.
like Captain Jack Sparrow, and then all I hear in my head is the faint screams, and people being like, oh my God, what is he doing? Got circulated around the party a little bit.
And then I had to carry him to the bathroom where he promptly fell asleep.
Bodyguard style.
Well, apparently I fell asleep. Tom's dragged me to the toilet, trying not to make a scene. And I've just started snoring in his arms.
Trying not to make a scene. The scene had been made.
Now, we got a few texts come through. Somebody, Jess from O'Sullivan Beach has texted in here saying, hey guys, I was playing T-ball at school, somehow hit my elbow with the metal bat and fainted on first base.
Not good.
Jeez.
What about this one here? It says, I fainted when my wife was having her teeth pulled out. Strange thing is on TV, I'm fine with seeing it, but this was just something else.
I think that would
What
be
kind of TV shows are you watching?
Yeah.
But also, why are you in the room while your wife is getting her teeth pulled out?
It's just an odd scenario, isn't it?
It just feels odd.
That is I don't think anyone would be that good watching someone's teeth getting pulled out.
No, I couldn't do it.
Hey, we're going to cross over to Paralawi. We've got Vanessa on the line. Vanessa, good morning. When did you faint?
Good morning. It was about my daughter. She was studying to be a midwife.
Yep.
And quite easily goes in helps with the birth, watch cesareans. Her first epidural, the needle comes out, bang, hits the deck.
Ooh.
Okay.
I mean, they are massive needles. The epidural
Yeah.
would be very confronting.
Was it just more the sight of how big the needle was before it actually went in?
To this day, she says that she didn't have enough food in her belly, that she was just very nauseated from that. But, nobody likes needles.
No, I mean, is she okay with the big epidural needles now?
Oh, yeah, 4 years on, she gives the needles. She does everything now.
Yeah, good on her.
Good on her.
Hey, thanks for getting involved, Vanessa. Appreciate it.
No worries, guys.
Cheers. Hey, let's go to John. Hey, John, when did you faint, mate?
It's actually one of my friends, so this is going back to high school days.
Yep.
He always used to tell us he was really scared of needles, and we didn't really believe him. And we're all at the movies one night, and someone got poked with a needle in the movie, and he passed out.
What?
And,
What?
Oh,
He passed out in the movie.
in the
And
movie.
the guy
Wow.
said, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
right.
know what was going on. We were like, he's scared of needles, that's why he passed out.
So was
He
it?
woke up, he was fine after about 3 or 4 minutes, but it was a pretty funny episode, and we still laugh at him to this day about it.
Wow. So you didn't know that scene was coming up in the movie. Like you didn't take him there on purpose to really test it out. It just happened accidentally.
It accidentally, but it would have been perfect if we actually knew about it. We could have planned for it.
Put a mattress on the floor. Make sure there's no impact.
Good on you, John. Thanks for getting involved, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, let's wrap things up with Daniel out in God's country, Kadena. Good morning, Daniel. Where did you faint, mate?
Oh, morning, guys. I, back a long time ago, riding BMX, skate park, hot day, probably didn't drink enough water, went up a jump, and then, passed out midair. And probably
Midair.
3 metres probably up in the air, hit the ground,
Yeah,
concrete,
right.
head first, and then,
And, were you wearing a helmet?
I wasn't, actually, no.
Oh, my gosh. Were you okay, Daniel?
I was okay. I thought I was okay. I hopped in the car, drove home. Headache wasn't going away, and I went knocked on the neighbour's door and said, "Hey, can you take me to the hospital?" And went to the hospital, and turns out I had mild to serious concussion and spent a couple hours in the hospital.
Yeah, geez. Hey,
gosh.
Daniel, did you keep BMXing after that?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I wore a helmet from
Good
there on.
stuff.
Mate, nothing will stop you from the shred.
First rule of the Davo, Tom and Callum podcast is you don't talk about the Davo, Tom and Callum podcast. The second rule of the Davo, Tom and Callum podcast is you don't talk about the Davo, Tom and Callum podcast.
Geez, the Daily Mail has come out with an excellent article yet again, just blowing us away with some incredible journalism.
Thank God. Finally, some good journalism here on the show.
So we've got this here, and the title of the article is I'm a food safety expert, and here's what you can still eat, even if it's mouldy.
God, I'd hate to be this person's spouse. Just the person loading up the fridge. What's with the mouldy capsicum? It's fine.
Mouldy drywall is fine.
Just everything in your house looks vile.
Shut up, Janine. I'm testing it for my article.
But you're green. It's clearly not working.
So basically, it's the thing with this article, and it has given me the irrits, is that it said here's what you can eat, but then an article starts and it's just everything you can't eat.
Yeah, right. Before we get into it as well, even if you can eat these mouldy foods, are you going to go out and still eat them if they're mouldy?
No,
Because
you're
I
not
feel
gonna-
like it's
God,
going to
no.
put you off,
No,
right?
and you're not going to do it in public or with people watching you, just smashing a mouldy piece of fruit. You would not do that in front of someone else.
Your bread's a bit mouldy, mate. No, don't worry. The Daily Mail said it's okay.
So apparently there's heaps of foods that if there's a bit of mould on there, you can just chop it off and it's all good. But it says do not do that with bread, all right? So don't do it with bread. So
Right,
you can't
okay.
eat bread when it's mouldy.
Thank you, Daily Mail.
It also says avoid mouldy grains, nuts and apples. So you can't eat grains, nuts and apples.
Right, okay.
It's dangerous. So
There's a lot of things we can't eat so far.
I'm looking for something we can. Rice, no good. Don't eat mouldy rice.
Don't eat mouldy. Okay,
So all
all
this
right.
is pretty self-explanatory because I don't think there'd be many people thinking, geez, these foods are acceptable to eat mouldy, and they're being shell-shocked right now by the article.
Another one here, it says avoid mouldy soft cheese, berries and bread, as we said, already been through that.
All right, don't more mouldy foods not to eat.
Still looking for something you can eat that is safe. Oh, here we go. Some cheeses are safe.
Yeah,
some
right.
cheeses.
Like blue cheese.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
cheese that's meant to be mouldy to eat it is okay to eat. Okay, well, we knew that. What else can we eat that's mouldy, Davo? That's it.
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
There's certain names that, really go under the radar for a while until they're made popular by, a celebrity or
Pop culture.
Yeah, pop culture.
Yeah.
And then your name is all of a sudden synonymous with that kind of person. And it happens all the time. And one of the more funny ones I've seen recently is the girl I'm talking to, her friend. She is what?
Nice.
I have to give context.
Anyway to get that
it's
in.
not a slipping in. It just would have holes in the story if I didn't mention it.
Yeah, the girl I'm talking to. It's no big deal.
I don't
She
have to
really
say it
likes
next
me.
time. I don't have to say it next time, and I won't. If it's gonna be like this every time, I just won't say it.
I'm a bit of a big deal,
So
flexes his muscles as he did it.
yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Fist bumps all round.
Sorry, so the girl you're talking to.
Yeah. So her friend is I found out that her dad, right? He has obviously his name, it probably comes from some sort of ethnic kind of background. I'm assuming, European or whatever.
Sure.
And then I'm thinking this name has really, really got attached to someone very big, a very big character. His name is Bane.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
So when I found out his name was Bane, I was like, what the hell? Because I'm sure the guy is lovely, and I've heard he's like the nicest dude ever, but as soon as someone
You're
is
just worried he's going to pick you up and break your back.
Literally,
like he did to
as soon as someone is called Bane nowadays,
Yeah,
the name is kind of ruined, isn't it? Imagine trying to date that girl. You'd be worried, like you said, the dad's going to murder you on the spot. He's a mercenary. He lived in the dark.
We want to open up the text line here. Was the name ruined by the movie, Adelaide? Somebody's texted in, the name Hannibal is ruined for me.
Wow.
LMAO. Can't say I've ever met a Hannibal.
Well, there's that actor.
Hannibal,
American
Buress or whatever.
Yeah, he's so great. Yeah.
Hannibal, yeah.
But obviously, you think about that other creep,
Yeah, that's where my mind goes.
Mask on.
What about this text here? It says, I can't not think of Shrek's wife whenever I meet anyone called Fiona. It's so true.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love this one here, and I actually had a school principal back in primary school with this name as well. My cousin's name is Bruno. When the movie came out, he couldn't escape people doing the accent whenever he's around.
Yeah, right.
And that would suck as well. I mean, such an eccentric character.
This text in it says, Callum, do you worry you have ruined the name Callum for future generations?
Well, no one's going to call that baby Callum now. I've squandered it for you. Retract your baby names. Someone said, Tom, do you think your name has been ruined by Thomas the Tank Engine as well?
Ends it with a choo-choo, might I add. Absolutely not. Thomas the Tank Engine slaps. It got another text here. No word of a lie. I grew up with a guy, Alan Jones.
Oh.
He loved Indiana Jones so much he named his firstborn Indiana.
Oh, well, that's
So
just
his
a crook.
It's Indiana Jones.
What a crook family. Just all of them.
Also, wouldn't you think of his name's Alan Jones? I just think of that radio, old radio, like the AM.
Like talkback radio Alan Jones. Yeah, 100%.
I'm absolutely enraged.
Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.